insane, 'cause every single day I wake up unafraid, I bruise and I bleed and try it over again. Don't matter where I've been, I'm winning in the end. The difference is I don't give up when I'm falling. I know the risk, I read the warning. The difference is I just get up and keep fighting. I come back, strike harder than lightning, 'cause I know. I come back, strike harder than lightning, 'cause I know. I come back, strike harder than lightning, 'cause I know.
Oh, hello. I tell the world. Alright, lower this a bit. Alright, cool. Hey, hello. Hello. Stay. Change this to this. And then save changes. Alright. And I'm pretty sure that worked. Alright, stay on this. Stay on this. Alright, cool. Hey, we're in here. Alright, so let me save all of this. This is saved. This is saved already. Nice, 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 nice. Alright, let's do this. Alright, boom. And then save changes on that. Alright, so if you don't know what we do here on Everybody Hates Luke, we look at the front page of the internet, aka Reddit, and we also look at videos, which we're going to do today, and we also just do like rants and stuff, and we also play video games. So today's video game that we're going to do in the background is RuneScape, because I need the herb levels. Yeah, herb. Holy shit, that was a lot of experience that just popped up. Alright, so let me just do this. You wouldn't steal a bank pin. Alright, 669. Alright. Boop. Alright, and now I have to... Oh, man. My dumbass logged in on the wrong account. I knew it. Alright. Doo-doo-doo. Don't mind me. You wouldn't steal a bank pin. Alright, get my login macro, because macros are the best. Macros are the best. Don't forget to count your macros. No, this is a different type of macros for like auto entering passwords and stuff. Alright. And now, don't need the bank pin screen. Alright, cool. Now we're gonna get started. I have all of my, this is my setup. So I basically, this is why we play video games in the background, because literally all I do is just, like, I'm just like gonna be spam making these potions. Like, if you want to watch me, like, click it, I guess, but it's not really like that big of a deal. Alright, so two videos we're going to watch first before we look at some other stuff is going to be Redacted Tonight and then John Oliver, because I personally really like Redacted Tonight. Well, I shouldn't say that. I actually hate probably 50% of the show, but the other 50 is alright. So we're going to watch that. And then John Oliver, you know, he has sold out a lot recently, but he's also been touching on more topics that I like. So you know, take the good with the bad. You know, so I like some of the stuff, I don't like some of the other stuff. All right, close that so I can save changes. All right, and let me just bring this over here. All right, perfect. And now I have my chat open. All right. Fingers crossed the stream can handle this, because, or the internet can handle this, because, like, freaking, we pay a lot of money for this internet, and it would be tight butthole if it doesn't work. Okay, so got that going, got that going. Let's do Redacted Tonight first. Let's bump it down a little bit. We don't need to see that much.
Is taking up all the headlines. Puerto Rico is still devastated. And it drives me nuts to see the people struggling down there, to see so much destruction, and no one is talking about how our shitty system created this. Instead, Trump is just throwing paper towels out to people like he's handing out merch at a rap concert, you know?
That was pretty just like, I mean, like, what, one roll of paper towels? Oh, yeah, let me just clean up a whole fucking hurricane of water with this one fucking roll of brownies. Or Downy.
Oh, what's that? You need more baby formula? How about a MAGA hat? Boom! Think about this. If one of these monster billionaires, the Mercer family or Mark Zuckerberg or any of them, were to offer $5 billion to the first person or corporation or organization that could get food and water to the people of Puerto Rico, do you think it would have gotten done quickly?
I mean, yeah, what, $5 billion? That's some pretty that's pretty crazy high on the socialist crazy level. Because, like, you know, but I'm down for sharing the wealth and shit, but I also really like capitalism. And, like, fucking $5 billion. Alright, guy. Alright. Fuck, we just need 5 million. We don't need 5 billion.
Just grabbing toddlers off the street, shoving Cheerios down their gullets like fucking pelican eating a fish, you know? People would be arguing. That was my Puerto Rican kid. Give me that. Find your own fucking Puerto Rican. And the reason that's not happening, the reason they aren't getting enough help, is because of runaway capitalism, because of the market economy. There's no money. There's no money in spending millions to get food and water to struggling people, 48% of whom are below the poverty line down there. CEOs of the companies with the supplies are just like, where's the profit? How do I get rich saving Puerto Ricans? Huh? What?
Well, ask fucking Tesla, dude. I hope he rebuilds. Like, if he rebuilds Puerto Rico's electricity grid and fucking they get, like, a good infrastructure going down there, fuck, dude, I'll move down there and start my businesses and shit. Like, goddamn, hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know who I think needs water? People have $2 to pay for it, all right? They look pretty thirsty, don't they? They do. Speaking of Nestle, it came out last week that Nestle pays only $200 a year to steal water from near Flint, Michigan, a place that you might have heard needs water. And this is the way we all are trained to think. This is the
yeah, Flint, Michigan still has water problems. I don't get why we aren't channeling water, get some tunnels to channel shit, right? Feel like stupid saying that, but I mean, like, is that not possible?
For those desperate people. On top of that, Wall Street created the poverty in Puerto Rico in the first.
All right, here we go. How long was it? 4 minutes in almost, and we're finally getting to the reason Puerto Rico's shit.
And that was even before the storm hit. But our festering rash of a corporate media won't mention any of this. 90% of the discussion about Puerto Rico is totally forbidden from our airwaves. It's just horrible. They don't have the food and the water and medical supplies that they need. That's the system you rah, cheer for every fucking show, all right? And you're funded by the same...
Yeah, we'll do some... We'll see... It goes over more of this in the John Oliver thing, but one of the big things is they can't file for bankruptcy. And they have to pay back all of their taxes and debts and everything before they can pay any of their own.
That's like lamenting a fire burnt down the little orphanage, but never mentioning that it was a orphanage/kerosene depot because of budget cuts. They were leasing part of the orphanage to a kerosene company. It was run by a...
This is why... This is like half of the show that I don't like. Same thing with John Oliver. Like your jokes. I don't know. Just doesn't do it for me.
No, it's just a tragedy we could not have foreseen. Puerto Rico Rico. No one could have seen it coming. No one could have seen Houston coming. No one could have seen Flint, Michigan, and New Orleans, and Detroit coming. It's all such a surprise. It's not a surprise! Furthermore, runaway capitalism benefits from this chaos and misery. It's called the shock doctrine. And Naomi Klein wrote a whole fucking book about it. How about that CNN, Fox News, Huffington Post?
The shock doctrine.
Read a book. Can you try? Read a book. I know a book doesn't have all the interesting, like a wardrobe malfunction GIF on the sidebar, or there's no exciting pop-up ads. You won't believe how this woman.
Who thinks pop-up ads are exciting? Who the fuck thinks pop-up ads are exciting? No.
Great sex and one way to ruin sex for others. You know, there's none of that on a book. But even so, just snort a bottle of Adderall and tell yourself it's what Pappy Viacom wants you to do. You can get through it. Plus, unfettered capitalism is incredibly inefficient in terms of where materials are and where they end up. That's why Puerto Rico imports 80% of their food and supplies rather than using a local sustainable system. We all do that, right? As stated in the new human rights movement, in market-based economics, rarely, if ever, is anything said about public or ecological health. Why? Because the market is life blind and decoupled from the actual science of life support and sustainability.
That's why I think that speaks to a lot about universal basic income. Like what he just said can be said about universal basic income.
The moment the corner store gets blown away by a tornado, I'll be eating what.
Because it's like the argument that, oh, these guys are going to spend it on drugs, that's bullshit to me.
I'll be the first to ever die from a single day food shortage, you know. Local news report is like, yeah, it was the bodega flooded, and then this guy tried to eat the flowers, and I mean, the Arby's was open like 3 blocks away. It's really.
I hate these jokes. Like, I hate his jokes. Oh my god.
None of us know how to survive if our food doesn't show up on time after being.
Well, why don't you read a fucking book then? It's not hard.
Make the frozen pizzas and farm the tuna fish. You know what's going first in a natural disaster? The small dogs. We'll all be eating the small dogs in no time. Don't blame me. All right, it's true. I won't deny.
Man, this is brutal. I hate this guy's jokes.
On your plate. It will. But you gotta do what it takes. I don't even eat meat, but when the shit hits the fan, I don't think any of my neighbors have tofu terriers I could pilfer.
Did someone write this, or is he just like making this up? I feel like this is written, and it's like, where did these metaphors come from? Where are these fucking metaphors?
Things like Puerto Rico threw our budget a little out of whack. But saying Trump is making an ass of himself is about as surprising as saying Shaquille O'Neal has been acting pretty tall lately. It really has.
Shaquille O'Neal has actually been doing a lot on like social media and internet and everything. Like, it's kind of fun.
Trump is projecting the
Shit, what does he call himself? What's his DJ name? I can't remember.
as people starve and go thirsty.
DJ, like, not DJ Boogie, but something like that.
Basically said, what do you want from us? Who even cares? Because there's no money in it for him. There's no financial benefit in simply helping people. We need a revolution of the mind so that there's not a price tag on every aspect of the human experience. Coming to you from Washington, D.C., the Belly of the Beast is redacted tonight.
Alright, cool. Let's move on from that one because I don't like that guy's jokes. Alright, cool. Yeah, and then you could see, we'll reorganize a little bit. You can see my cool apps that I've got. Alright. Bop, bop, bop. Crap. Move that. Didn't want to move that. Alright. Cool. Oh, hey, Tyler. Hey. You get to watch me get Herbalo levels. Alright. So now we're going to watch the Puerto Rico special. Theater mode. We don't want 1080p. Let's just do 40p. Because I don't want to lag bad. How is the stream lag wise? I hope It's not too bad. Verizon already started fucking me over. Alright, cool. Nice. Yeah, oh, hold on. My private's off because I stream and sometimes people message me and I don't want to like give away like personal shit. But yeah, see, Matt Fry. Oh, hello. Yeah, I'm the reason I'm doing this in the background while we stream is because it's like super easy and I have like mad potions I've got to make. Like all of this stuff that you're seeing me move around in this tab right now, this is all stuff that I got from my main for free from like just like gathering shit. So I gotta make it all into what's it called? Herbs. 35k experience. Oh yeah. Word. Streaming till 1:30 officially. Then I'm probably going to edit for 30. Alright. I'm going to gym afterwards so I can dedicate to you all night. Alright. Cool. Now let's start the John Oliver one.
Puerto Rico, the island that for decades has been marketed to us as a beautiful vacation spot.
This is the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico.
This video is pretty great just because I love this old-timey voice. Yeah, come to Puerto Rico. Get yourself some hookers. Yeah. Excuse me.
Coconut Mask Festival at Louisa, just 45 minutes from San Juan. And how'd you like to see this the morning after?
Oh.
Did that 1950s narrator just make a sex joke? Why, if you've got the moxie, you can f every crazy masked stranger on the island.
I just love that voice. And I love how he says narrator. Narrator.
Even greater than a demonic Slipknot coconut mask.
Puerto Rico is in desperate financial trouble. Puerto Rico is facing a $70 billion public debt amid a
$70 billion.
Considering the state of our economy, the debt is not payable. This is not politics. This is math.
That is bad. Because this is math is one of the most dread-inducing sentences in the English language.
See, at least I like John Oliver's comedy a lot more than the other guy. I mean, some of it's bad, but most of it's better.
It'll never grow back, and Mommy, Whiskers has been napping for a really, really long time. Puerto Rico is currently around $70 billion in debt, and it is wreaking havoc on the island.
The poverty rate is a staggering 45%. Last year,
And the worst part about the poverty level being so bad is it's like everything is a concrete house. It would be so easy to just stick them in some more houses.
In the last few years, the cash-strapped government has dramatically hiked sales.
Just let them bum fight each other out. Maybe they'll make some money on it.
1.5%, far higher than any in the United States.
They have an Asian working there? Was that Puerto Rico? I don't know if that was Puerto Rico.
Everyone's being laid off, and there's still a weirdly large number of Ricky Martin CDs. And remember,
Hey,
Americans have a personal
careful,
stake.
Ricky.
Puerto Ricans are American citizens, and they and their descendants include some of our finest judges, both of our laws and our idols. They're some of our top athletes and our top Guzmans. Just this week, Lin-Manuel Miranda, the son of Puerto Rican parents, won the Pulitzer Prize for Hamilton, the Broadway smash he created and starred.
So, oh, okay, so we got the Pulitzer for the book, but the play probably is garbage. No, I'm just kidding. I heard it was pretty good.
And if I can help in any way, if I can get more eyeballs to this crisis, it's a fixable problem. I'm urging Congress. If Hamilton tickets will help, I'm happy to do that too.
Oh. Wow. That is incredible, because I'm amazed even he can get tickets. It is easier for a meerkat to get into Harvard Law School
Alright, so
than it is to get into that show.
See,
And
jokes I don't
here,
like.
Congress should take him up on
Meerkat
it.
jokes,
The show-
bottom level comedy, Jonathan.
Have you seen that clip from when he performed a work-in-progress version of the opening song at the White House?
Well, the word got around. They said this kid is insane, man. Took up
up a collection just to send them to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world is gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. It's so fucking good.
I don't know. It's not about like the president though. It's not Alexander Hamilton the president. It's just like someone else. I don't know. I'm curious about it. I'm honestly pretty curious about it.
To save Puerto Rico. Well, much of it has to do with the fact that, as we've talked about before here, Puerto Rico is not a state, but rather, as a 1901 Supreme Court case stated, it is a territory that is foreign to the United States in a domestic sense. Which sounds like what a liquor store clerk says to try and sell surplus cases of Miller High Life. Oh, you're looking for a quality foreign beer? I'd call this foreign in a domestic sense. And look,
That's a good one. There's a Miller Lite shirt at Kohl's I almost bought.
that is a complicated issue on which many Puerto Ricans themselves disagree.
Many Puerto Ricans, yeah, do not want to be state, for the record.
The states have loopholes concerning Puerto Rico, and as you will see time and time again in this piece, those little legal quirks have had massive consequences. Some good, but many utterly devastating. And let's start with a quirk many Puerto Ricans like, something called Section 936. It gave tax breaks to encourage businesses that would otherwise have moved overseas to move to Puerto Rico, and it worked.
In the 1970s, the U.S. government...
Yeah, pharmaceuticals, man. Can you imagine if pharmaceuticals came back to Puerto Rico? Boy, oh man.
Sector, particularly pharmaceutical companies. At its peak, the island was home to 89 drug manufacturing.
That's how my mom got into pharmaceuticals, dude. My mom's Puerto Rican.
At its peak, the small city of Barceloneta even housed 14 pharmaceutical and other plants, including one that produced Viagra. And that Viagra plant was such a source of pride that the town's mayor has said, "We're responsible for a lot of good moments."
The town Viagra.
One step away from outright changing the town's motto to Barceloneta, you're welcome for that boner. Now, unfortunately for Puerto Rico, Congress got rid of those tax breaks to offset a tax cut on the mainland, phasing them out completely by 2006. And between that and the US recession, Puerto Rico lost over half its manufacturing jobs, putting its economy into a flaccid state that no amount of Viagra could fix. And to pay its bills, the government started issuing tons of municipal bonds, and a municipal bond...
See, this is where they really got fucked. Municipal bonds are actually the worst.
...promising to pay it back later with interest, and for years, people lined up to buy those bonds because, thanks to some other quirks in the law, they were very attractive.
Let's see.
Congress decided bonds from Puerto Rico would be triple tax exempt. Those who buy them don't have to pay federal, state, or local taxes on the bonds.
The money you earned on them was triple tax exempt anywhere in the US, and triple is the best you can have, like triple fudge brownies. Because double fudge is shit, and quadruple fudge doesn't even exist, because what would the fourth fudge be?
I didn't even know there's 3 fucking types of fucking fudge, honestly.
Thanks to yet another legal quirk that they themselves lobbied for, they could stash tons of bonds in funds without putting Puerto Rico in the name. You might even own Puerto Rican bonds and not even know it. Oppenheimer's Maryland Municipal Fund, for instance, is made up of 50.4% Puerto Rico bonds, which is insane, because if you are more than half something, that is what you should be called. Even Taco Bell makes sure their ground beef is less than 50% squirrel lips.
See, like, alright, bad jokes. I don't like you, John Oliver. I mean, I like him, but...
And yet, Puerto Rico even went a step further to entice Wall Street, writing into its constitution language suggesting that certain bondholders would be...
I mean, look at this. The public debt shall be paid, and other distributions thereafter shall be made.
Which is pretty f***ed up. The US owes $1.2 trillion to China, but if you called 911, you would not expect them to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we chose to send our fire truck money to Beijing. Have you tried blowing on the fire really hard?" And it's provisions like that that kept the money flowing in. And, as their former governor puts it, Puerto Rico got hooked.
They were extremely attractive in the marketplace, and Puerto Rico actually got addicted, I would say, to it. And so it was a lot easier to just go on a barrel as opposed to making tough decisions.
Yep, and that is absolutely true. But You were the governor for many of those years.
Oh, feels bad. Savage.
It's like hearing Keith Richards complain about the Rolling Stones drug problem. It was
That's alright. So when I saw this video, I was like, yo, is that really what he looks like? I'm alive. I'm surprised that motherfucker's alive.
Puerto Rico a time bomb because unlike states, Puerto Rico cannot authorize what's called Chapter 9 bankruptcy, which is huge. Because think about that. If you are massively in debt and you can't declare bankruptcy, you are stuck. And this happened because of a tiny amendment to a law in 1984. And the crazy thing is, no one can say why it was written.
It's interesting to note that Chapter 9 applied to Puerto Rico from 1933 to 1984. And then mysteriously, for some reason, Puerto Rico was exempt from Chapter 9.
A provision was stuck into a larger bill with no explanation or debate.
There is no legislative history to explain why Puerto Rico was singled out.
He's right.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, look at what fucking happened because of it. It's like you think they wanted all that money, you know? It's like you think they fucking did it not knowing that they would make guap off of, like, this shit. Like, obviously they just fucking stuck it in there somewhere. Fucking assholes.
Why that amendment got attached. We knew Strom Thurmond had proposed it, so we asked an archivist at the library where his papers were kept to go
Strom Thurmond.
And they came up with nothing, which might actually be the best case scenario there, because usually when it comes to Strom Thurmond, the answer to the question, where did this come from, is either his testicles or...
Alright, boom. We'll save that there to look it up later.
So at this point, with massive debt that is promised to pay ahead of government services and no access to bankruptcy, Puerto Rico was f***ed. But wait, because we're only getting started here. Because 4 years ago, in an attempt to turn things around, they embarked on a disastrous plan to lure in wealthy individuals and small businesses by, among other things, exempting them from capital gains taxes, which, you have to admit, is pretty good rich people bait. It's right up there with tiny dogs in bags and big dumb round ice cubes. They're colder when they're round, you know?
Whoever puts fucking ice in their whiskey or brandy, you're fucking... You're an old bitch. Like, that's gross. Like, water in there, dude. I don't drink to get hydrated. I drink to dehydrate. Come on.
What we found, first of all, was a thriving business community. Established, solid, like the United States. In terms of family, I must say I was skeptical at first. But in the end, the island has everything you might need. Great possibilities. I visited schools and, wow, top level English. I saw living alternatives up to our standards.
They even had people.
So many little treasures you want to explore, complemented with all the comforts, the necessities you and your family are accustomed to.
Oh,
you'll even have little Puerto Rican butlers bring you food.
English. The buildings had roofs, the cars had wheels on them, but wait, they also had indoor plumbing and the printed word. But while those tax breaks were part of a plan to create 50,000 jobs in 18 months, a study later found they only directly created 5,800. That's 12%. If an ER doctor told you, congratulations, we got 12% of the G.I. Joe out of your rectum, you would not consider that a job.
I mean,
well done.
it sucks. Believe me, it's not good, but I mean, hey, probably helped that fucking 48% poverty, like, a little bit.
Savage government cuts, including hospitals literally struggling to keep the lights on.
Yeah, and now they just can't keep the lights on because of all the fucking electricity problems, dude. I can't believe this. Like, I really hope Elon Musk gets on this shit. Like, they just, like, sign us up. Let's get it done right now. They start within 5 years. Boom. We've got Island of Puerto Rico running on Tesla.
Life support, they have to worry about the switch to bicycle-powered generators. Pedal faster, Luis! We're losing him! And with working conditions like those, is it any wonder that apparently at least one doctor a day leaves Puerto Rico? That is an attrition rate rivaling that of Grey's Anatomy. How have so many of you died? You work in a hospital.
Yeah, I've never seen that show, so, yeah.
Here is Puerto Rico may soon need those doctors more than ever.
Health officials are worried as they expect the Zika
Alright,
virus to
thankfully we found out the Zika virus was not a big deal at all, and now we really don't talk about it or worry about it too much. Which, maybe we should just a little bit, because people have weird looking heads still.
And a sudden influx of tax-dodging arseholes. Now Puerto Rico has to worry about deadly mosquitoes. It's like the island is being hit with
Mosquitoes.
Thinky for the Bible. And this is clearly a moment where Puerto Rico could rightly cry out to its creditors for mercy. However, a lot of its creditors are now hedge funds, who traditionally thrive on this kind of chaos.
Hedge funds often invest in debt-ridden economies, buying up bonds at low prices and looking to flip them for quick profits. And Puerto Rico is their latest target. The strategy has earned them a reputation among critics as so-called vulture funds.
It's true, as much as 30%.
Yeah, I think they're probably called vulture funds even when they're not dealing with Puerto Rico, but that does make it sound a lot worse. It's not a good name.
Oh, thank God, the vultures are coming to help. And these vulture funds have lived up to their name, with a group of them producing a report last year titled, "For Puerto Rico, There's a Better Way," suggesting budget cuts like cutting excess Medicaid benefits and reducing the number of teachers on the island. So shaving money out of medicine and education is your better way. Well, at least have the intellectual honesty to then change the title of your report to, "Hey, Puerto Rico, you pay me." Now, the good news here is Congress is currently considering a bipartisan bill that would give Puerto Rico some breathing room to negotiate with creditors. And the details are still being worked out, but if this is done well, it could be a real help to Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, there is now a coordinated campaign to kill it.
Who will bail out Puerto Rico? Washington says you will.
Oh my God. This is going to be like a trillion times worse if they try and do it now, just because all the Republicans are in office.
Was bullshit. First, it's not a bailout. No one is suggesting a cash infusion. Second,
yeah, bailouts don't work. That's one of the things that they've been consistently saying now, like, is that they don't want a bailout. We need to fix the laws.
Possible to say where that money came from. Hedge funds. Hedge funds gave them the money. It's impossible to say.
I mean, think about that. They made billions of dollars off just sucking everything out of Puerto Rico, and they spend $2 million of that. Less than like 1% of that money on fucking them.
Because he starts fucking smiling. That's amazing.
That's a really creepy fucking smile, though.
Look, hey, stock footage, man. You've been used in a manipulative attack ad. Oh, don't be sad. Let's get some ice cream. Oh, you know what? Bad news. They're out of ice cream. But they have cake. Pound cake, though.
Hey,
strawberries.
Pound cake is delicious.
Man, you're America's greatest living actor. And this is not to say that regular bondholders have not been hurt. In fact, some Puerto Rican bondholders may have got the worst of this, thanks to one more quirk. Because some of the bonds were underwritten by the investment bank UBS, which sold them to one of its own divisions, essentially selling them to itself. UBS then offloaded those bonds onto Puerto Rican customers, even though its own sales force felt they were so risky, they came up with a list of 22 reasons not to sell them. And 22 is a lot of reasons to ignore. If a waiter at Bennigan's says she has 22 reasons she doesn't feel comfortable selling you the Cobb salad, you listen to her and you go across the street to a fucking Sizzler. Now UBS says
I don't like his jokes.
Wrong, and technically
some of them.
They're right. I mean, sure, UBS should never have been able to sell those bonds to themselves. It's actually illegal to do that under the Investment Company Act of 1940. But, and I think you know what's coming by now, that doesn't apply in Puerto Rico, because apparently no laws apply to businessmen down there. I would not be surprised if in Puerto Rico, hedge fund managers somehow have the ability to fly due to some bullshit exemption to the law of gravity Strom Thurmond wrote up in the fucking 1980s.
I'd love to see where all these people are, though, because I don't think there's much of them around living on Puerto Rico, at least.
Their next debt payment is due on May 1st, And in the short term, they need relief from hedge fund lawsuits and an opportunity to try to restructure their debt. And in the long term, we need to stop treating Puerto Rico like it's just a tax haven or a place to have terrifying sex with a stranger in a coconut mask. And instead we have to
Welcome to the island of Puerto Rico. I just love, I'm obsessed with that 1950s voice.
And look, there are certainly better voices than mine to speak on behalf of Puerto Rico. Luckily, there is someone with Puerto Rican parents and an amazing voice, and he is here tonight. Please welcome the great Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Alright. So, oh wait, Strom Thurmond. Alright, let's look him up and see what the deal with this guy is before I forget. I'm happy I typed it in the, it's a good thing I typed it in the taskbar so I don't forget. Alright, Strom Thurmond's black. He died 100. Thurmond Strom's black daughter. Secret biracial daughter dies at 87. Holy crap. Alright, he died in 2003. Wow. Alright, he... A magnet for controversy. Let's see, Barry Goldwater. That's not what we want. We want, hold on, let's see. Puerto Rico. So let's go. Puerto. Oh, man. Let's see if they go in 1984. Dang, they don't have anything about, Strom Thurmond in Puerto Rico. Hold on, let's go. We'll make a little bit of this and let's go. Strom Thurmond, Puerto Rico. Don't let me down with this, John Oliver. Let's see. I hate PolitiFact, for the record. I really hate PolitiFact, but I don't see many other websites for this, so we're just going to go with it for now. Alright, so... Oh, damn. Alright, cool. Well, this is the Intercept, so we'll check out the Intercept first. Where is this from? This is from May 9th, 2017. Alright, so this is after they did the vote that John Oliver talked about in the end of that video. So give me a second to toss some Avento potions in here. Alright, cool. So, last week, Puerto Rico officially became the largest bankruptcy case in the history of the American public bond market. On May 3rd, a fiscal control board imposed on the island's government by Washington less than a year ago suddenly announced that Puerto Rico's economic crisis had reached a breaking point. The board asked for the immediate appointment of a federal judge to decide how to deal with a staggering $123 billion debt the Commonwealth government and its public corporations owe to both bondholders and public employee pension systems. Alright, so make some more potions. The announcement sparked renewed press attention to a Caribbean territory that many have dubbed America's Greece. The island's total debt, according to the Control Board, is unprecedented for any government insolvency in the United States and is certain to mushroom quickly if no action is taken. Detroit's bankruptcy, by comparison, involved just $18 billion, 1/9 the size of Puerto Rico's. And we see what's happening over in Detroit right now. So let's make this. Within days, Supreme Court Justice Chief John Roberts, acting under provision of the Puerto Rico Oversight, Management, and Economic Stability Act, appointed federal judge Laura Taylor Swain from the Southern District of New York to take over the Puerto Rico case. A former bankruptcy court judge who was appointed to the federal court by President Clinton. Swain famously presided over the long criminal trial of employees of the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme. Alright. Boop. Boop. And make these potions. Okay. Let's see. Alright, so... First, the colonial relationship that has prevailed between the U.S. and Puerto Rico since 1898 is no longer viable. Puerto Rico is the largest overseas territory still under sovereign control of the United States, and is the most important colonial possession in this nation's history. That relationship produced uncommon profits for American subsidiaries on the island for more than a century, even as the federal government kept claiming that the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, created in 1952, was a self-governing territory. But now, with a Washington-appointed board directly overseeing the island's economy, and with a pivotal Supreme Court decision last year affirming that Congress continues to exercise sovereign power over Puerto Rico, the mask of self-governance has been removed. The old Commonwealth is effectively dead. Absent a huge infusion of U.S. public dollars to prop up its collapsing economy, a scenario that is nearly impossible with a Trump White House and Republican-controlled Congress, that relationship cannot be revived. Political leaders in both Washington and San Juan, whether they like it or not, are being propelled to fashion a new political and economic status for the territory. They will have to finally decide whether to completely annex Puerto Rico as the 51st state or acknowledge that it still remains a distinct nation with the right to its own sovereignty and independence. Second, but first let me... misclick. Alright, 14, create... Second, the impact of Puerto Rico's bankruptcy will continue to reverberate throughout the U.S. bond market, far more than most Wall Street analysts have so far acknowledged. The Control Board has warned that even with massive cuts to government services and new projected revenues from higher taxes and fees, Puerto Rico will still generate slightly less than $8 billion in budget surpluses over the next 10 years, when some $35 billion in debt service comes due. In other words, 3/4 of the debt cannot be repaid. That is not just a haircut for bondholders, it is a head shaving, one that will send shockwaves throughout the municipal bond market. After all, bonds backed by the full faith and credit of local government entities have long been considered among the safest investments. Well, we'll see about that, won't we? Let's go down, make some more potions. Years of court battles between Puerto Rico and contending groups of creditors are now certain. The economy of Puerto Rico will be put on hold for years. Make no mistake, the board has chosen to turn Puerto Rico into the next Argentina. The debt is not payable. We will make a couple more of these. Alright. Civil society groups contend that the plunder of the Puerto Rican people through predatory and even illegal bond deals that the island's politicians concocted together with top of Wall Street will now be exposed. Amazingly, the 23-page petition that the federal government's own Financial Control Board filed in the U.S. District Court in San Juan reached the exact same conclusion that Puerto Rico's former government, Alejandro Garcia Padilla, reached back in June 2015, that the island's debt is not payable. Excuse me. In nearly 2 years since Padilla sounded the alarm, however, Washington has done almost nothing to alleviate the economic catastrophe afflicting 3.4 million U.S. citizens in Puerto Rico, except to establish the Control Board enacting Promesía. On an island that has lost 10% of its population in the last 10 years, where 46% of the population lives now below the U.S. poverty level, where the unemployment rate is more than 11%, and where the labor force participation hovers around 40%, lawmakers in Congress have kept insisting on greater austerity from Puerto Rico's population. The reality is such dire conditions that would never be tolerated among U.S. citizens in any other jurisdiction, yet they are allowed to persist in Puerto Rico. During the last 2 years, the Commonwealth government has sharply raised electricity and water taxes. It has increased the sales tax to 11%. It has proposed ending all pensions for new workers and cutting benefits by an average of 10%. And last week it announced the closing of 179 public schools for the coming school year. In addition, the Control Board has called for a $450 million cut over the next 4 years to the island's 70,000 student public university. Alright. Let me just, man, 70,000 people go to a public school. Can you imagine? Can you, like, I can't even imagine. Alright. Under the Control Board's pressure, Governor Ricardo Rossello, who took office in January, is eyeing the privatization of the government-owned electric company and the Water and Sewer Authority, even the public transit system. but even massive cuts and selling off public assets can't solve the problem that there aren't enough jobs on the island, that young people keep fleeing to the United States, and that Puerto Rico's government is powerless to fashion its own economic trade policy independent from the United States. For decades, Puerto Rico was important to the American economy as a center of sugarcane growing, then as a tax haven for manufacturing and pharmaceutical companies, and as a military stronghold and bulwark against the spread of communism in Latin America. But now it is no longer needed for any of these things. Most of the U.S. military bases have closed, and Congress began in 1996 to phase out the island's tax haven status. As soon as the last of the federal tax breaks ended in 2006, corporations started leaving, and the island plunged into a recession from which it has yet to recover. For the past 20 years, a succession of island governments has been closing structural operating deficits with borrowed funds supplied by Wall Street firms eager to market its triple exempt tax bond to wealthy and middle-class Americans and Puerto Ricos. Excuse me. Huh. Okay. Investors were especially drawn to a provision of the Puerto Rico Constitution that required the government to pay general obligation debt service ahead of any other expenses, and by the fact that Puerto Rico and its public corporations were legally prevented from resorting to Chapter 9 bankruptcy, the portion of the bankruptcy code that applies to most local governments and municipalities. Until 1978, Congress had included all of the territories and possessions of the United States under Chapter 9, so Puerto Rico had bankruptcy protection until then. But between 78 and early 80s, there were several changes to U.S. bankruptcy law. In 1984, an amendment was inserted into the law by South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond that specifically excluded Puerto Rico from Chapter 9. No reason given. No federal policy or interest in the change was spelled out in the amendment process. By a few simple phrases and an amendment that few people noticed, Congress laid the basis for the unique situation Puerto Rico confronted last year. It was not only broke, there was no established legal recourse for it to get a court to decide on how many creditors would get paid how much. And then we make some potions. The PROMESA bill Congress enacted at least created a new type of Chapter 9-like process for the island. The bill stipulates that if the Puerto Rican government and the control board cannot reach a voluntary settlements within bondholders, a judge can be appointed and creditors forced to accept a settlement, known as a cram-down. But the law's constitutionality has yet to be tested, and with so much money at stake, the various groups of bondholders are determined to wage a titanic legal battle against it. On May 9th, for instance, Ambac Assurance Corp., one of the major insurers of Puerto Rico bonds, filed suit in U.S. District Court in Puerto Rico against the Commonwealth and the Oversight Board, and it did so with uncommonly strident language. What's strident language? Oh. Well, I mean, it's nice that it links to the actual thing, but I want to know what strident language means. Whatever. Sovereignty confers great power, but it does not authorize lawlessness. This action seeks to halt the latest in a series of unconstitutional and unlawful acts that have been the unfortunate modus operandi of the Commonwealth government in seeking to manage its financial and economic distress. Instead of rectifying these abuses, the Oversight Board, created by Congress to restore fiscal responsibility to the Commonwealth, has affirmatively exacerbated them, giving its imprimatur to an ongoing scheme of constitutional and statutory violations that can only be called theft. Ambac has insured billions of dollars in sales tax revenue bonds, known as COFINA bonds, that Puerto Rico has issued since 2006, and the company, along with other bond insurers, faces enormous losses from any crackdown. Well, maybe if you guys didn't lobby to this fucking senator to put this fucking bill in, I mean, it's like, do you think you'd just be able to suck them dry forever? It's like, what do you think? Like, did they think that just they were just going to continue to make money forever, and, you know, they'd always be able to just suck these people dry consistently? It's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? So anyway, meanwhile, another group of bondholders who were involved in $1.4 billion of Puerto Rico's last major general obligation bonds issued in 2014 filed suit in the New York State Supreme Court. These bondholders, led by a hedge fund, Aurelius Capital Management, and Monarch Alternative Capital, insist that Puerto Rico's constitution requires them to be paid first from all available revenues. The General Obligation Bondholder Group, along with many civil society groups, insist that all the COFINA bonds were illegally issued and should not be repaid. $18 billion of the $74 billion bond debt. That's a fuckload of it. All right. That's because the Puerto Rico Constitution specifically forbids debt service and principal that surpasses more than 15% of annual government revenues. The Puerto Rico legislature specifically created COFINA to maneuver around that 15% limit, and then it guaranteed the payment of that debt from sales tax revenues, but the legality of that maneuver has never been tested in court. Whew. While the contending bondholder groups battle in courts, the PROMESA board has now sided with the Puerto Rico government that bondholders will have to accept major reductions in payments. From current revenues, the Commonwealth and its instrumentalities cannot satisfy their collective $74 billion debt burden and $49 billion pension burden and pay their operating expenses. The Fiscal Control Board concluded last week after months of poring over Puerto Rico financial records. No shit. It's like when you've got fucking 46% of people under the poverty line, 11% unemployment, and $123 billion in debt that you won't let anyone pay off. Like, ugh, it's pretty crazy. All right, so now we're getting into some more recenter stuff. And the island's budgetary crisis is about to worsen exponentially, the Control Board warned. Due to the elimination of approximately $850 million in Affordable Care Act funds in the fiscal year of 2018, the total loss of federal health care funds, according to the board, is expected to reach $16 billion over the next 10 years. On top of that, the government pension systems are almost out of cash and will need $1.5 billion a year just to keep up payments to the current retirees. Unlike municipal workers in the United States, most public employees in Puerto Rico are not part of the Social Security system, so those pensions are their only retirement income. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and Republican leaders in Congress insist there will be no bailout of Puerto Rico, no extra federal assistance to the island's population. They want to ignore the fact that back in the 1990s under Bill Clinton and the Newt Gingrich Congress, Washington leaders realized they had to take drastic measures to save the District of Columbia from economic collapse. Congress established a fiscal board just as it has done with Puerto Rico. But that board soon concluded that D.C. had structural problems that required federal help. In 1997, a reform package accomplished the following. The federal government assumed the city's debts, it took responsibility for the local courts and prisons, it increased the rate for Medicare reimbursements to district, and it took over the city's underfunded employee pensions. As a result, the district emerged from economic calamity. Today, it is a vibrant and prosperous city. Federal lawmakers will either have to provide massive assistance to Puerto Rico, or they will have to move rapidly to change the island's political and economic status. After a century of colonial rule by Washington and decades of predatory debt from Wall Street, the bill has come due. All right, shit. That was a lot, but hopefully you guys feel more informed. Maybe not informed, but, more knowledgeable about the subject, because I'm not going to read these PolitiFact things. I'm just not going to read them. And this was a pretty comprehensive article, I think. Covered a lot, and I got a lot of potion making done. I'm about to finish this. I'm about to be 75 potion, or 75 air blower. So all around good. So thanks for watching, and we will have more videos coming out soon, because I have right here, if you look, right here, oh shit, come on baby, don't let me down. All right, here we go, boom, because as you can see right here, I've got 5 league highlight games right here and a brand game. Oh, well, you can't really see them that well, but I do have them there, and I'm still editing more today, and we've got some more clips coming up that I'll be editing later today as well, because it's a holiday and I have time to just sit down and edit all day, because I'm going to have YouTube videos right now. 100% we're going to be doing videos at like the weekends, like when I'm not streaming, and then ideally I'd like to work in like little videos during the day before the streams, but right now we might get a job, so I'm not sure when the streams will start in the future, excuse me, so we're keeping it open. Yeah, deuces.